Hello and welcome to Lone Star Silver Screen, a podcast about everything that exists at the intersection of Texas and the movies. I'm your host, Austin Zook. Typically, I'm joined by a guest to talk about a film with ties to Texas or something going on in the Texas film industry that I'm interested in learning more about. But today, I'm doing something a little different. I'm flying solo because I wanted to start doing these periodic updates about things going on in Texas, just movie news that maybe doesn't need its own episode or it might get its own episode later, but this is kind of a recap of the previous week of film announcements with some kind of Texas tie. I would love for this to be something I can put out weekly that doesn't take a lot of time, but gives you a decent snapshot of everything happening in the Texas film industry. Or, if not everything, at least the stuff that's making headlines. It's also a fun and easy way for me to talk about some of the things that I've been doing or seeing that maybe, again, don't warrant their own individual episode. Now, the big thing right now that's going on in North Texas is the Dallas International Film Festival. That'll run through this coming Thursday, kicked off last week. I am planning to do an episode with a friend of mine, just sort of talking through everything that happened at the festival after it wraps, but I am going to talk a little bit about some of the things that I've been doing during DIFF right now. And first off, the thing I want to call out, and I'll talk more about this when we do our recap episode, is the incredible sense of community that DIFF has been able to create over its 20 years in existence. I lost track of the number of people who came up to me over the past couple of days and introduced themselves. You know, some of them actually knew me from my work writing for some of the local outlets. Some of them had no idea who I was, and they were just looking to talk to other film lovers. It's a really special environment, and I really have enjoyed taking part in it in some small way over the past few days. On Friday, DIFF hosted the Dallas Star Award luncheon, where they gave the 2026 DIFF Dallas Star Award to actor Lou Diamond Phillips, who has been a longtime associate of the festival, and I got to attend that luncheon, which was awesome. Met some really cool people, including Mr. Phillips briefly, who was very kind, very generous, and it was a lot of fun seeing him on stage, kind of reminiscing about his career. They showed some great clips, including him playing a nameless street thug in some indie film he made in Dallas back when he was first getting started. And it made me really appreciate the breadth of the roles he's taken on and everything he's contributed to Texas cinema. And I don't think he always gets talked about enough in those terms. If you did not listen to our Mount Rushmore episode, we actually talked about Lou Diamond Phillips as a potential contender for that. He did not make the final cut, but he's definitely an honorable mention. Now, after the Lou Diamond Phillips luncheon, there's something cool that's going on this year at DIFF, which is they started this Dallas Industry Conference. This is the brainchild of DIFF and the Dallas Film Commission. Austin Flores has been helping sort of shepherd this through, and it's been an opportunity for people who work in the film industry to come together at DIFF and sit in on panels about getting your films financed or how to market a film. You know, all the nuts and bolts of film distribution and creation. But as part of that, Mike DeLuca, who is the co-CEO of Warner Brothers, came as the keynote speaker. And the keynote, I got to sit in on it. It was not a straight presentation from DeLuca. It was more of a conversation, just reflecting on his career, his accomplishments, and what he values in projects and in the film industry and kind of where he thinks it's going next. I found the talk to be really interesting, a lot of fun. He's worked with some incredible artists over the years and created some incredible films. His hands, his fingerprints are on Austin Powers. They're on the PTA films, including One Battle After Another, which just won Best Picture, and Sinners, which was another strong Oscars contender and a lot of people's favorite film from last year. It was just cool getting to be in the room with him. Didn't get to meet him, but it's amazing that Dallas got him out there in person to talk to us. Also, wanted to just shout out the Film Commission in general. I've seen Film Commissioner Katie Schuck and Austin running around, not me, the other Austin, running around just kind of corralling, introducing themselves to people. You know, their job, and someday I'm going to do an episode on what the film commissioners actually do in Texas, but their job is really to sell Dallas to filmmakers. And so something like DIFF, where you have filmmakers coming in from all over the world to exhibit their films and network is it's like a target rich environment for them, and it's always so fun seeing Katie and Austin out and about working with people, shaking hands, kissing babies, all that good stuff. I wanted to shout out a couple of the films that I saw. The first one, Misper, is a British mystery film. It's about a guy who works in a hotel in England. MISPER is a British term that the, I guess, British law enforcement use as an abbreviation for missing person. And so basically this guy works at a hotel, and a lady he works with who he has a crush on goes missing. And it's about how her disappearance impacts him and everyone else who works at the hotel. I thought this movie was really funny, and I really hope people take the time to seek it out whenever it hits distribution. The filmmakers were in attendance. They did a Q&A, and I learned during that Q&A that this was not a student film for them, but it was almost a student film. They've just graduated, and it's incredible to see people with talent like that just coming straight out of the gate with something that's this assured and confident. The other thing I saw yesterday, I attended a screening of this new documentary called Kim Novak's Vertigo. The filmmakers met with legendary actress Kim Novak, who, as the title suggests, was a part of Alfred Hitchcock's legendary film Vertigo, regularly cited as one of, if not the greatest film ever made. And this is just their conversations with Novak, who's in her 90s now, but she's still remarkably sharp and also gorgeous. She looks incredible for someone who is the age she is. But it's her reflecting on her career, the impact Hollywood had on her, and why she walked away from the film industry some decades ago. I thought this was so sharp and so insightful, and she is just remarkably open about her struggles and her successes too. It's very rare, I think, that you get a documentary with a subject who's willing to be this vulnerable on camera. There's some really cool stuff going on here. Like, one thing is, after they finished their initial conversations with her, they felt like there was a little more they could get. So they talked to her about basically recording herself using voice memos, kind of like what I'm doing now to record this podcast. And she sent those to the filmmakers, and they incorporated those into the movie. And it's her kind of monologuing about her experience and her concerns and her mortality. I mean, this is just a really special film, especially if you love classic Hollywood. And then last night, I attended one of the shorts blocks. And if you don't watch a lot of short films, I really encourage everyone to seek some out. There's some really exciting stuff that happens in that art form that people are able to they experiment more, and they're really able to push the boundaries of their creativity and drive the medium forward in a way that you usually don't see people doing in a full feature, because obviously there are just, budget requirements, and you have to make something semi-commercial a lot of times. And with a short film, you don't necessarily have the same constraints. My mind was just blown yesterday by some of the stuff that I saw during that short films block. And of course, DIFF has an incredible selection of shorts every year. They even do a short film festival in the fall. Amber Eckleberry, who is their head of shorts programming, just has amazing taste. She and her entire team put together a really exciting slate, and I really hope that people take the time to seek out some of those films. And then finally, I wanted to give a shout out for Cinepolis, because, what a great venue. They're kind of the HQ for DIFF this year. And I had forgotten, first off, how nice the seats are there. Like, you could just take a nap. They're like full-on recliners. It rocks. The food is fantastic. The staff is nice. It's a really cool venue. And it's in the middle of downtown Dallas, so I think that might turn some people off sometimes. But they do validate parking for the garage in the building that they're in. And if you want, after your movie, you can go right downstairs to Macero, one of the great Mexican restaurants in downtown Dallas, and have a margarita and talk about the movie with whoever you saw it with. Now, I want to move on to other film news. The other thing that happened this past weekend, of course, was the USA Film Festival. I was very sad I didn't get to attend anything for USA. I know Gene Simmons was in attendance. I would have loved to see him in the flesh. Someday, they're going to decide to stop hosting USA and DIFF at the exact same time, and I think it'll be better for everyone involved in both events. But for right now, everyone is, I guess, refusing to blink. And so we every year, it seems like we have these two incredible film events that take place at the exact same time. And I know that there were some PR people who I work with who are having to bounce back and forth between the two. And I think it would just be a better experience for everyone in North Texas who loves movies if they did these on different weekends. And I was under the impression that this year they were going to do that, but here we are once again. Aside from that, big announcement last week, Curry Barker, whose new film Obsession looks really cool. He was announced as the director attached to the A24 remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm planning an episode talking through that news in more detail and what we're hoping we see from that adaptation or remake or whatever you want to call it. A new studio is supposedly coming to North Texas to open a film production and mixed-use campus in Mansfield. You know, the big takeaway from this past week talking to filmmakers at DIFF has been how excited everyone is about the Texas film industry right now. Taylor Sheridan really seems to have opened the floodgates. And I don't think that he is the only person doing exciting work in Texas. I don't even think he's necessarily doing the most exciting work in Texas, but he has helped raise the profile of the Texas film industry. You know, people were referring to it over the past weekend as the third coast. You know, this is going to be a major production hub if everything goes well, buoyed by the film incentives, which you can hear on one of my early episodes. I interviewed Ian Loomer, the former president of the Dallas Producers Association, about those. And then, as far as releases go, David Lowery, Dallas director, incredible guy. I've interviewed him a few times for articles for D Magazine. His new film, Mother Mary, starring Anne Hathaway, went wide, only made a little over $1 million at the box office. The budget's pretty modest on this one, only about $20 million, but I'm sure they were hoping for a better showing. And I think this is a really great movie. David Lowery is a filmmaker who I absolutely adore. Sometimes his films, they require a second or third viewing to really wrestle with everything that he's doing because he does not phone it in. I mean, these are ambitious projects. They're psychological. They're spiritual. And in this one, I mean, he was really trying to navigate some thorny subject matter, you know, around stardom and faith and friendship. It's just, I mean, it's a great movie. I haven't stopped thinking about it since I saw it a few weeks ago. And if you love Anne Hathaway, she is phenomenal in this. And Michaela Cole, who she's playing opposite. Michaela Cole has one of the most incredible faces in film right now. There is no version of a movie with her that is not at least a little bit interesting if she's on screen. Like, she has an incredible presence. She has so much integrity as a performer. And I'm excited to see what's next for her. You can also catch her in The Christophers, new movie from Steven Soderbergh, starring her and Ian McKellen. She's playing a different character in that, you know, not quite as dark and spooky as she is in Mother Mary, but still just such an incredible energy. Oh my God. I'm not even making sense. Like, who's listening to this right now? Nobody, because it's just me blathering on, but that's how much I love Michaela Cole as a performer. I lose myself in bragging about her and talking about her. So if you have made it through this, I hope you enjoyed yourself. I will be, like I said, doing these periodically. I would love for a version of this to drop every Monday. Over time, they will probably get more structured and better and smarter. But for now, you guys got this word vomity version. Thank you, and have a wonderful week. And I'll see you at the movies and on the dusty trails of Texas. Bye.